for coming and being interested. New England is quite famous for its foliage. People come from all over the world to appreciate our foliage, and a lot of them get stuck in the White Mountains, which you've probably done yourself, in White Mountains traffic jams. And my goal is to encourage you to look a whole lot closer to home, because we have lots and lots of opportunities. And I'm going to start you off with, this is a cemetery in Mendon that I happened by, and what we have in New England, we have so many cemeteries that we're really blessed with all the historical cemeteries that we have in New England. I can't even begin to tell you where the best cemeteries are for walking, but they're great places. They have, a lot of them have old trees, the sugar maples. That's what you get, that flaming red, those are the sugar maples.
The Hopedale Cemetery is very beautiful.
And see, I'm not even familiar with the Hopedale. So that's what cemeteries,
very beautiful, yeah.
Cemeteries
very
are great places for walking. The residents are quiet. You don't have any, they don't have any wires, so when you get into pictures, a lot of times wires get in the way with all the beautiful trees. And so a lot of them have at least crushed stone, if not paved, walking paths. Biggest problem is parking, and also to knowing the rules. Some of them limit hours of when they want you to visit. Some of them limit when you can bring your dogs, and of course if they do allow dogs, they want you to clean up. But it's not necessarily the places that people always think of for walking paths, nor do they always think of for ideal places to find foliage. So I wanted to make sure you thought of that first, is look to your local cemeteries and investigate what the rules are for each of your local cemeteries, and then go and enjoy them. And do like I did, and when you see these gorgeous, gorgeous colors, make sure and stop and see them. This was in my own backyard, and so we realized that just because we think of these professional photographs, that the Vermont countryside, and you have to have the white church right in the middle, and the mountain going up in the back, and a lot of times we really have, it's not all perfect. And it's not, some of it's green, some of it's red, some of it's orange, some of it's yellow. And it all makes this wonderful foliage palette. And so I hope to challenge people to look broader than what we think of as that foliage, that ideal foliage picture in Yankee magazine. And understand that we have lots and lots of opportunities right in our own backyard and very nearby. And I'll show you some other places that you can look. This is right here in Milford, and this is what was called the missing link, right parallel to Route 16, that last connector between the section that goes up toward Hopkinton and the section that goes up toward Holliston. I see the bike trail that you have, this wonderful bike trail in Milford. It's basically as a U, with Hopkinton over one side, Hopkinton on one side, Holliston on the other side, but there was that funny space in between, and now you can go all the way around. It still isn't a loop, but some wonderful walking trails and some lovely color. You've got some wonderful curves. This is still on the missing link section, and you've just got the greens, you've got the trail, and you even have poison ivy. But golly, it gives you some gorgeous color. Poison ivy is really pretty remarkable. It's got a lot of drawbacks. But
what is the identification?
For poison ivy?
If that was 3 leaves, does it have to have red on it?
The more you see it, the more you get used to what it is, because it comes in shrubs, it comes in vines. This is going up a tree, but it sometimes can be just shrubbery. You'll see it right along a lot of trails.
Like shade.
If you're going to spend time in the outdoors, you do owe yourself to get educated about it. It is not Virginia creeper, which it often is confused with.
5 leaves for Virginia.
Right, 5 leaves with Virginia creeper. There's others that are, I just can know that climbing up like that tree, that's poison ivy.
A good thing to know if you want to get rid of your poison ivy, invite a goat over.
Buy a
They love
goat.
to eat it.
Yeah, goats actually do.
So, does anybody here have a goat for breakfast?
They do, it's true. They'll eat most anything, including poison
They
ivy.
go right for it.
Yeah,
It's a popular trend now, people roam out their goats.
yeah. You've got your Louisa Lake, and especially for your first part, typically, to find the first foliage color changes, you're going to want to look near waterways, rivers, ponds, wetland areas where you're going to get your swamp makeables. And they're the ones that are going to change first in those lower lying areas. And so I got this lovely, lovely picture from on the bike trail in Milford of Louisa Lake. But that's one of the things to think about, look towards water. But this year may be pretty untypical. As I was going up the highway last weekend, I was already seeing a lot of yellows. And I think this is a combination of, and I'm not a scientist so I can't really be sure, but the combination of the gypsy moths have really stressed the trees, and then we are in extreme drought. If anybody hasn't gotten that message yet, heads up. We have not, you can see by all the waterways how low the water levels are. The trees know it.
Louisa Lake can show you very quickly.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very low. So, people they don't really think about oaks when they think about foliage, and yet you've got this beautiful golden color with oaks. After a while they turn brown and look really yucky, but when they first are changing and they still have some moisture, oaks can be really beautiful in the sunlight. And I got this lovely, lovely picture. This is over Rice City Pond in Uxbridge. But you've got oaks lots of places, so don't underestimate oaks for getting some different kinds of foliage, and they come later as well. So typically what I've discovered is that foliage doesn't all happen, boom, and it's gone. It is a very quick season, but it's spread out more than you might expect. And so the longer the better in my view, because then it's all dead trees and not very pretty looking. But don't forget to enjoy the oaks. Poison ivy, here you go.
Poison ivy for you.
All right, but they turn this beautiful, beautiful red. But this is a really good, nice close-up of your poison ivy. On the left is the green, and in the middle there with the red. They were all poison ivy, but
I heard 3 leaves.
well, yes, those are 3 leaves, but you just start having to get used to that look. And God knows there's plenty of places to practice looking for them. So there are lots of opportunities to learn about poison ivy. So, you can, there's quizzes on the internet for poison ivy. Oh yeah, there's quizzes where they have one look-alike and then another, which there's 2 plants, which one is poison ivy. You get lots of opportunities for testing.
You can come to my yard, I'll show you.
The best way is to spend time with a person who knows and is confident of it and just getting used to it, because yes, you do want to avoid it.
Also, you may think you are not susceptible, and I'm 71, and next year I could have poison ivy.
It's true. It's true.
It's a
And
matter of exposure.
the best thing is to wash off immediately. And washing off means washing off thoroughly. There's a couple of products. Technu is an off-the-counter product that you can use to wash, but you have to thoroughly wash everything. Another off-the-shelf product is Zanfil, and it is another off-the-counter at the drugstore product to deal with it. Isn't this lovely poison ivy?
Yeah.
I found this in Uxbridge,
Yeah, it's very
and it's pretty spectacular.
Do you see poison sumac, and does it turn terracotta?
I am not I'm not a skilled botanist. I know that we have some poison sumac. I don't believe we have poison oak in this area. That is more western, but it is.
It's claimed that poison oak and poison ivy are within the same plant.
They are in the same family, but poison oak is West California area that you'll end up. They are all noxious and they will all make you lose a lot of sleep. But this, this is right along the Blackstone Canal in Uxbridge, and it was just so pretty. So it actually very pretty, but don't put it in a bouquet. And don't bring it home to your mother. So you just don't want to do
And your
that.
dog can get
That's another concern for any dog walkers,
Yes.
is you really do want to be very, very attentive to where your dog is so that you don't end up transferring from your dog's fur.
Yeah, because dogs don't get it.
Yes, they do.
Well, they don't get it. Usually it's all oils on the, and you get it.
Oh, I have a friend, and the dog was the one that told
Really?
her something was wrong. Yeah, she had.
Oh, poor thing.
Oh, she had it.
Oh, poor
The
thing.
dog did.
All right.
Dog told me.
When you're looking for foliage pictures, this picture is, you can see the yellow up at the top of the picture. This is actually along, I believe it's the Sudbury River in Framingham. That was taken in June and was actually just a trick of the light. All these colors that are in the leaves are actually there. And, you really have to pay attention to your lighting when you're taking pictures. I am not a camera expert. I just take lots and lots of pictures when I'm on the trails for these kinds of presentations. And I came across this and just said, well, look at that. It had some yellow all in it. Very, very pretty, but it was very early morning light. And the morning light was shining right on those leaves, right along the, was about a mile-long boardwalk parallel to the Sudbury River up in Framingham. Carol Getchell Trail. Very, very nice spot. The beech trees are going to be really beautiful with glowing colors. And this is just, don't forget to look up when you're taking pictures. A lot of times we keep looking down or we want to look out. But looking up is another place to get some really gorgeous pictures of trees at any time, but in the fall, you're going to get the sunlight coming through the trees. And this was over in Sharon at Mass Audubon, Moose Hill Audubon in Sharon. Beech groves tend to grow in groves, and that's because they grow by sending roots out of the trees. And so they grow rather densely, and for that reason, you get some really dense foliage, especially if you're looking up
What
into
is a
the...
grove?
Excuse me?
What is a grove?
What is a grove?
Yeah,
It's just a whole bunch
a
of...
bunch of trees
It's
together.
here's what it looked like.
Okay.
Yeah, beech trees are the nice smooth bark trees that people like to carve their initials in. That's, again, I'm not a botanist, but that's an easy ID. Oh, good, there's somebody's carved their initials in there, that much would be a beech. And they've got they kind of hang on to their leaves sort of like the oaks. But see how different that is just walking along the trail as opposed to when I looked up.
Oh, wow.
Was really different, and that was basically in the same spot. So, a lot of it is just remembering to look all around and not just our little tunnel vision when we're looking for foliage and looking for beautiful things to see in the woods. You're going to get a lot of multiple, these are, I'm not really sure if that is different trees that have gotten, you've got 4 different colors right there. The red, the orange, the green, the kind of yellow. And that was just in the parking lot. This was over in Franklin at the Sculpture Park. And what's really lovely, this is a little handicapped accessible park. There used to be their town swimming pool. And there was a stream that came through and they dammed both sides of it and put cement walls and made it into a swimming pool. In the 1970s, they abandoned it and filled it in with dirt, which mostly the stream washed out, so you got a bunch of trees that grew up, and then they all died, so now it's an absolute bird paradise. That the birds think that this is a fantastic place to come and catch little froggies and green herons and kingfishers who are flying back and forth, and woodpeckers in the dead trees, and I was able to spy a little green heron catching a froggy with his little froggy legs hanging out of his feet. It's a great spot. It's very, very small. It's right next to the police station in Franklin. But I spent an hour just walking around watching birds there. But you just never know where you're going to find.
Which stop in Franklin line?
It's next to the Franklin police station, so it's Panther Way. It's directly behind Franklin High School. So it's really just a block from 140. It depends on where you're accessing it, but directly behind Franklin High School.
Is it in your book?
It is.
Okay.
It wasn't in the first book. That's why one of the reasons I was really anxious to get this second edition, because it was only created a year or two ago. It's a coordination with the Franklin Arts Center, and so they have sculptures all through this sculpture park, big outdoor sculptures. I took my grandchildren, and very touchable. They were climbing all over the sculptures. Very, very lovely.
Do they have special hours or anything?
No. It's an outdoor, it's just there. Nope, you can go anytime.
When did you take this picture? What time of the year?
It was in the fall.
Yeah.
It was in the fall,
Okay.
probably early October. Basically, October 1st to October 15th is what you kind of expect. But like I said, I'm already seeing color now, and the oaks are going to hold on into November. But it is still a very short season. Don't forget, when you're going to the football game over in Foxborough,
Tomorrow.
all right, well, make sure and go behind Bass Pro Shop and enjoy the foliage of the cranberry bog. There is a working cranberry bog directly behind Bass Pro Shop. It is a cooperative commercial venture. It's actually a working cranberry bog. Ocean Spray coordinated with the craft group and Bass Pro Shop to develop. It was an abandoned cranberry bog, and they put it back into work. They have a cranberry harvest. It should happen any time now. I should have checked what date. But they actually do the harvest and welcome the public for like a cranberry festival.
That's where the wine is from the Milford Senior Center we're going tomorrow.
Well, you may see them doing the harvest. I'm really not sure. But it's a half-mile, very easy walk. It's lovely. It's a really lovely trail. So
Also, I forget who he was, but one of our town representatives was influential in getting that walk, the bike trail that you're talking about, directly connected to the senior center.
Oh, yes, yep.
We go year round.
Yep, so the Milford Bike Trail does connect to the Milford Senior Center. It's an extra little, yes, yeah, it's just a little extra, a spoke there. Sassafras is another really common woodland plant, and this is part of, if you want to learn or appreciate foliage, it helps to start learning some of the plants as well, knowing what an oak is, understanding what a maple is. Sassafras is a kind of lower shrub. It never becomes a huge tree, but it's got some really pretty yellow, and that's what it's the mitten tree. Sometimes it's a mitten like just with a thumb, and others, this is on the left is the mitten, and on the right is the three-pronged. They're both, and they're all going to be on the same bush. But
What is it called?
it's called sassafras, same thing that you would make sassafras tea.
Sassafras.
Yep. And it's a very, very common woodland plant. What my point is that when you are walking before foliage season, if you have a favorite walk, it helps to start paying attention to what the bushes and trees are on your favorite walks so that you can pay attention and understand where they are in the foliage progression. If it's all oaks, you're probably not going to see anything for a while there. If it's maples, depending on if it's a low swampy area, you're going to see that really early. If it's later, and if it's that bright orange, that's the sugar maple. And that's something to pay attention to because those go really quick too. But it's just glorious. And you know, by going on regular walks to some consistent places, you start learning where things are. This is right along what's called the Snet. It happens to be in Bellingham. It starts in Franklin and goes 22 miles all the way out to Douglas. It is still in the proposed category, not like you all have in Milford. You have a wonderful completed trail from the Hopkinton line all the way around to the Holliston line. This is little sections are getting done, but they're not done yet, but they're still walkable. And this section is walking distance from my house in Bellingham. And so we end up walking there. You get some nice road cuts along these old rail trails that are really lovely. What I think you're looking at there is witch hazel. And that's another very common woodland shrubby. It never gets to be a real tree. It's always very skinny and dangly. Just by the way it grows like that, I can tell that it's witch hazel. That they make witch hazel that you buy in the pharmacy with. So, and it's very common through woodlands. And then this is over at Broadmoor in Natick. And I guess I want to encourage you when you're looking at scenery and looking at foliage, don't forget the dead leaves and the pine needles. Like, there's still something really beautiful. You don't just say, well, all the leaves are down, so there's nothing to take pictures of. There's still real beauty as the leaves are falling and as they're filling the walkways. Be careful because they're slippery. But you can still see. So this is a very gentle waterfall at Broadmoor, which is a Mass Audubon sanctuary in Natick. And then you want your overviews. Now, the reason I did these books as easy walks is we mostly don't have a lot of views in this area. We're not the White Mountains, we don't have the oceans, we're not the Cape, we're not the North Shore, but we have easy walks. More central Massachusetts, south central Massachusetts, but we do have a very few very spectacular views. This is just the start of foliage season, and this is a view that you get at Rocky Woods in Medfield, which is a trustees of a reservation. It's called Cedar Hill. It's a bit of a walk from the parking lot, but it's a bit of a climb. There's water bars, so you really have to step up. But it's not incredibly difficult. It's certainly not scaling a mountain. It's some work, but you get this lovely, lovely overview. This was a foggy day, so it wasn't the most spectacular picture. But after you've done all that work to climb up, you take whatever picture you get.
Would you recommend this for, say, seniors who may be able to do this walk?
It depends on how far those seniors are willing to walk. It's a farther walk than you might.
2 or 3 miles, more?
We got lost that day. I found some of the maps. I walked a long ways at Rocky Woods that day. Some of the maps were not real accurate. I wasn't real clear on that. I walked a lot farther than I intended, but it was still only about 3 miles. This was taken really early in the morning, and I think if you'll notice, you get some really nice bright color there, but then there's not a lot of color down below. So sometimes when you go really early, you find you have to wait around for the sun for a little. So understanding how the sun moves is another thing to be aware of. I did get some nice color on the water there, but light is all about what it does to the foliage, and it does some amazing things. And the sun is your friend, but you have to be mindful of where it is and what time of day it is. And some of it is just taking lots of pictures and trying it and seeing. I think these were ornamentals. I don't know for sure that these were sugar maples. This was over at Hopkinton State Park.
Maybe red maples.
You think those are? Yeah. They were really quite spectacular. I was really grateful when I was looking for some foliage pictures. that they,
There are a lot of corporations that have gorgeous trees in the front, you know,
yeah.
all over the place, and, you know, you just
And
have
a
to
lot
be
of,
there.
but a lot of times those are ornamentals.
Yes.
And so it's a little hard sometimes to tell what they're going to do. This is over at Ashland State Park, and it's the, no, I'm sorry, this is still Hopkinton State Park. And it was another dry fall, and this was from the swimming areas on beyond where this dam, this is really a dam, and it was the water outflow. It was just so pretty, but just so prettily built that most of the time you'd never even see it because it would be filled with water. And so I found this also at Hopkinton State Park, and there was another one almost identical to that in Ashland. I think the same builders. This is right on the Holliston section of the Upper Charles Trail. There's a swampy area, and as you know, as you can see, this is right on the edge of the swamp. So that would have been early in the season before a lot of the trees lost their color. You see a lot, you've got all these dead trees at the edge of it. You're headed up towards Holliston Center. But right along the swamp, on those edges, you're going to have trees, but they're going to change very early. Here, this was the Ashland from the dam overlooks. Exactly the same structure, not as nice and graceful curve. But this is Ashland State Park. So again, you see this is all the oaks are very late in the season. So you basically have the evergreens and you've got the oaks. But they're still giving you a lot of really beautiful color that extends the foliage season, as it were. You all know Hopedale Parklands, yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm amazed when I visit towns very near here, the number of people that have no idea what a jewel we have at Hopedale Parklands. What I really love is that you've got water views almost the whole way around, that you can almost do a complete loop all the way around. You do have to go out onto the street for the far side to be able to get all the way around. But I encourage people when they don't feel like driving 6 hours to get on the carriage roads of Acadia, they can just hop over to Hopedale, and you're on a carriage road that is older than the carriage roads of Acadia.
That's
So
a
they were
carriage road?
actually, yes, it was a carriage
I
road.
was just on the carriage roads of
Yeah.
Acadia.
Oh, you got this
Tell my friends.
Oh, thank you. All right, this was the town of Hopedale.
Park Commission.
The town of Hopedale apportioned, I think it was $5,000 a year. For 5 years, they taxed themselves. And what year was this, Mike? Do you know?
Sometime in the early 1900s.
But 1915, the trail was finished. They took just a little pond, a little dumpy mill pond, and landscaped it to make it look like a wild place. But it was very deliberately sculpted with plantings to be natural plantings and to make a park for the community. What I recommended for people with special needs children, that they are concerned about, I don't want a child to get lost. Well, you've got broad views, and you're not right up against the water. You can see the water, but you're not right up against it. And so you can keep children in sight, even if they get away from you for a little while. It's a real safe environment to explore the outdoors, and we visited there every season, but this is right about halfway from the swimming area out to the stone bridge. was where I took this particular picture, that I was able to get these lovely, you see the birches right there next to the water, and the color that you got there, and reflections on the water. It's a lovely, lovely spot. And yes, you all are very, very close. Usually I say, do you ever go to Milford Hospital? And everybody raises their hand. And I say, you've been a half a mile from Hopedale Parkway.
It's unbelievable, and it's an easy walk.
It really
It's
is.
generally,
Stroller
I wouldn't recommend
friendly.
anyone walk alone unless you're prepared, but it's
Yeah.
very safe.
Yep.
And at least 3 seasons out of 4.
I go there every season.
And it's good for cross-country skiing.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. People with dogs are very responsible because they really do enforce the leash laws for the dogs on there. I've had very little trouble with any dogs and
It's
their owners.
within shouting distance of the neighbors that you don't feel.
Oh, yes, that's true too.
Yeah, at least for one side of it. Yeah. No, it's a great spot. So wonderful, wonderful spot and this is along one of the carriage roads. And you just have this sort of carpet of leaves and an arch of leaves that you can, and this is another, just I didn't get the sun really coming through and just lighting it all up, but that was just the lack of time to keep going back and
Yeah, but
keep
it's a
trying.
beautiful picture. It is, yeah.
It actually suggests some spring to me.
It is fall. You look at all, no, that's
That's right.
Yeah, it's fall. It's fall, but there's just really broad views. And then this is actually over in Franklin, Delcart Conservation Property, and it's not that easy a walk, only because it's sort of rooty and a little rocky, but it's a 1-mile loop around the pond, so you get water views the whole way, which is really quite lovely. It was a difficult walk until they put in a floating bridge to make it so that you could make the loop. And I would not advise doing that in February when it's coated with ice. But any other time, it's better marked than it was. The town is still working on it, but it's really nice for paddling, catch and release fishing. But it's going to be pretty. And I took, this is at the same place, so I also encourage people, don't look up, make sure you look down and look small.
Yes.
And this is the ferns change color as well, that you just might not even think about, that you're going to find foliage in a place like that as well. And that's part of the pond, just in the distance. This is also Delcart. So look close. We have a lot of wetlands in this area, and you're going to get some beautiful, beautiful views of ferns. Over in Uxbridge, you've got Cormier Woods, and you've got is a trustees of the reservation. It's the only trustees of the reservation property in the Blackstone Valley, and it was a farm. And so you're going to get some open fields, but a lot has all grown up, and so you're going to get a lot of stone walls in through there. And there's just something about a stone wall with a foliage picture that's really lovely.
Are there paths through there?
Yes, yeah, there are multiple paths there. It's a road, a town road that goes sort of splits the property, and there's paths on both sides of the property, and there's an excellent map that the trustees put out. And this is where I give you search terms for where the maps are to print out.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't, I was there when they were still developing the trail system, and it was rather confusing. The trail system is better marked, and the map is better marked too. So I'm always grateful when I don't get lost. That's why I always walk with somebody else.
And bring a cell phone.
Well, sometimes cell phones don't always work. This is what I was talking about with the cemeteries. You may find a beautiful, beautiful sugar maple like this, and then you've got all these wires. And so that was a very frustrating picture. This was on the way to Lookout Rock in Northbridge, and also just past West Hill Dam. And I saw this, I had to just stop the car and get this picture. But when I look at it, I say, well, if we could have just gotten that pole out of the way. you know, you just have to keep looking.
But it's also a statement, it's artistically interesting because of the lines.
It says, stop and look at that tree, see that?
It does. Yep, my friend was driving and I made her stop. We stopped and we got a picture. And this is West Hill Dam. This is from the dam itself. This is Army Corps of Engineers in Uxbridge. They do keep this property open. God bless them, they plow their parking lots all winter. Those Army Corps of Engineers are real engineers. Even if we have a lot of snow, you're not going to have your car parked out on the snowbank out into the street. I realized when I was looking for some places to go in the winter, and I discovered that they actually do plow. God bless them, they plow really well. So you may not be able to get onto the trail where they plow everything, but you can at least get your car safely off the street into a place that then you can decide if you're up to walking or not. It's free from the dam side of the property. There's a swimming area that they do charge for in the summer, but once summer is over, it's all open with no charge at all. So lots of trails for horses. It is a popular place for hunting. And so this is where I bring up if you're going to want to appreciate foliage, do you have your own blaze orange jacket yet? Because if you want to appreciate foliage, we have to coexist with those who have the right and privilege of hunting, except on Sunday in Massachusetts. There's no Sunday hunting in Massachusetts. If you are not comfortable, go to a Mass Audubon property. They have no hunting ever. But any other property, you really, just as a default, need to have your blaze orange as much as you can on you. A hat is good, but a whole jacket is a whole lot better. You really owe it to yourself. Otherwise, you're going to say, oh, I don't feel like I can go out in the woods. You're going to miss all this foliage. Because that's when the hunters go out, is starting in September. And they're legally able to be out there. The other thing I wanted to, as far as equipment, is to encourage you, if you are at all unsteady, or maybe even if you're not, or just have some knee problems or some such. These are, some people would say they're ski poles, and they kind of tease me as I'm walking by, and where's your snow baskets for the ski poles? They actually keep me upright, and they make it so that I can be safe. And they give you an extra stability, but they also are a lot easier on your knees. There's a way to do this. You slide up underneath. These straps are not just there for show. You slide underneath and come down, and they actually really give you some support. And I find that it really helps as I'm walking along. It's made it so that I can enjoy a lot of these trails that are otherwise kind of challenging. You can get them at Ocean State Job Lot with a set of snowshoes for about $30. You can go to Sports Authority and you can pay more, but they're not that hard to find, and they're really worth having. I keep a pair in my car all the time. So West Hill Dam, Uxbridge is a place that you can just spend a weekend. Just go rent a room and spend, except it's close enough for us actually. And this is Riverbend Farm, and Riverbend Farm is part of the Blackstone Valley Heritage Corridor that has now become the Blackstone Valley National Historic Park. So it's our newest historic park, and very, very exciting. This is the towpath. It's a portion of the towpath that started in Worcester and went all the way to Pawtucket. 48 lops to get over about a 45-mile period, 45-mile stretch from the 1820s to about the 1840s. A tremendous, tremendous amount of work. And in the 1840s, the railroads came in, the West opened up, and everybody said, this rocky New England soil is a real pain in the neck. We're going elsewhere, and we'll ship all this wonderful wheat from Ohio and other such. Put the canal completely out of business, and it was abandoned for almost 150 years. Completely grown over, and with the efforts of the Blackstone Heritage Corridor, they've reclaimed sections, not all, of the towpath, and made it so that it's a walkable section. There's about a mile section from Hartford Avenue in Uxbridge down to Route 16. But a lot of foliage. You can see you've got the canal here, the river is over on my right from where we're looking north on the towpath right there. So lots of opportunities to walk, have some open views, but you've got a lot of trees along the way as well. And right at the top of that same path you won't see this bridge as you drive over Hartford Avenue because it's underneath you. And it's an absolutely gorgeous stone arch bridge. It's one of my favorite family pictures or just picture portrait spots with this gorgeous, gorgeous arch. And now we've got the fall foliage there reflecting on the water with the stonework. It's just one of those, everything works together really perfectly, especially if the water's still, which a lot of times it is, right there. It's a little sheltered right there. And then that's just another maple that's right at Riverbend Farm. What I love about Riverbend Farm is it is open 365 days a year, and they have bathrooms that are open 365 days a year, which is really nice for some of us. I really appreciate that. So many of these trails don't have bathrooms, but Riverbend Farm is a really dependable.
That's why you need to know what poison ivy looks
Where you can wash your hands too right away. Just north of Riverbend Farm, actually on the east side, the east bank of the river, this is Lookout Rock. It's actually just over the line from Uxbridge into Northbridge. It's very close to where we had that sign for where the big maple was with the telephone pole. Very, very close, Quaker Street. And it's just over the line from Uxbridge into Northbridge. And this is one of the nicest overlooks of the Blackstone Valley. You're looking south down the Blackstone Valley. You can either walk a mile from Rice City Pond up the east bank of the Blackstone River and then go around the trail and get up to this overlook, or you can drive over to Quaker Street, park in the very nice parking lot that the Heritage Corridor created, and do a very easy quarter-mile walk. The last bit, you have to kind of crab walk up the rock. But I am a sucker for views, and I know there's a view. I do not mind getting on my hands and knees to get it. This is a view just a few weeks later, and you see how the oaks are still holding on. Everything else is cleared out, but what can you see now?
Water.
That's right. And so even though most of the trees have lost their leaves, there are other parts of what you gain with losing the leaves. You get better views, and you can actually see some more of the landscape. This is over in Millville, and this is the Triad Bridge. And this is a very, very exciting spot. This is actually part of the SNET that I was describing that starts in Franklin and goes to Douglas. The SNET travels along this part. On the left side is a train track that is live right now. It's an active working train track. And then above that train track is the path of the SNET, and concurrently the Blackstone River Bikeway will be traveling over that section of what used to be railroad. And then up at the top of the picture, you see that stone abutment, and that was the third track. It was like a layer cake. 3 layers of train tracks piled right on top of each other, right in that one spot. That's why it's called the Triad Bridge. Sadly, that third rail line, the financer for it was on the Titanic and its first voyage. And the financing for that whole rail line basically foundered with the loss of that developer, with his loss of life. And it's called the Titanic Trail. Part of this larger trail system. But all that is built is the abutments. The train track never actually got built.
The one on the left, is it still active?
Mhm.
That train's running?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it does. And it goes underneath that Snet and Blackstone River Bikeway.
It's the problem with the Worcester Railroad, it goes from Worcester.
Yeah.
and springs it out.
Right, right. This is where the Snet and the Blackstone River Bikeway intersect, and they actually run concurrently for a section of 4 miles. And so at this section, you're riding on both of the trails. If you go south, you'll end up going down into Rhode Island. If you go east, you go back to Franklin. If you go west, you go on to Douglas. If you go north, you're going to head to Worcester. But a lot of these are still in process. They're still working on it. But this is the view, another view from just on the other side. And then this is what because it had to be built up to be so much higher than that lower train track, you get a gorgeous, gorgeous view of the river. It's really lovely. And did I get a, no, I didn't. Okay, one last thing is, I didn't show you a picture. I was just at this Triad Bridge last week, and they have the decking, all of the decking is in. It's hopefully going to open in the next, I hope in the next month. All of the paving for the 4-mile section is almost complete. The decking for the Triad Bridge is now all built and is ready. They just need to get all their punch list of the last things to be able to open it. So,
And Hendricks?
And what town is
yes,
this again?
yes, this is actually in Millville, but it goes to Blackstone, Canal Street, and Bridge Street. It's right on the edge of Blackstone Center, which is, you blink and it's gone, but I've got maps. I've got location maps for where that parking is going to be. Right now, it's still buttoned up and not publicly available. We snuck in from the Milford side to take pictures and can walk out to the bridge, but you cannot yet cross the bridge. But I'm really hopeful in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to have a sign-up sheet if anybody wants to hear. Skinner, would you mind having my clipboard? If anybody wants to give me their name and email, I will be sending out irregular, not regular stuff. If you're interested in information, I also invite you to go to Facebook, to my Easy Walks in Massachusetts Facebook page. I put lots and lots of route trail walks, conservation information, and other such that I would encourage people, if they're interested, that I'm happy to share that. It is not all please buy my book. I'm happy if you want to have my book, but it's a lot of fun for me to create community. I've actually made a lot of friends meeting people who also have Facebook pages and do group walks. So I'm happy to include you with that. So this is the Blackstone Gorge, and it was absolutely a stunning, stunning place. Are all of you familiar with the Blackstone Gorge?
That's one from Woonsocket, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be driving along the little road that gets you there and think you're in Beaver Cleaver land with the picket fences, and you park in the parking lot, which now you don't have to park by the side of the road anymore, thank God. I don't worry about my car getting towed anymore. And you've got this, you're in New Hampshire. It's just stunning. There's a waterfall there, there's a dam there that just adds it, but then it's this very constricted spot. The path goes right along the river, so you've always got this sound of rushing water that goes 88 feet up. So you're up in the treetops, looking down the rocks as the water rushes by. It's just a little tiny piece of paradise. Yes, it's a high school hangout. Of course it is. It's bad for the kids at Blackstone, but it's a great, great spot.
It's the Blackstone Gorge.
It's called the Blackstone Gorge, and it's actually I used the same picture for the cover for both the first book and for the second edition, because I just couldn't, I couldn't find a prettier picture. So it's really just a lovely, lovely spot. These are all taken pretty close to the dam. There's just something incredibly gorgeous about it. So,
It's like fairies.
what's that?
It looks like fairies.
It is, I couldn't stop.
No, it's very pretty.
Yeah.
And, you know, I used to ride along a lot of Vermont types of things like
Mhm.
this. This has got to be by the seas.
Yes.
It's
We don't
just,
have to travel.
That's right.
you have to find Route 122. And from here, basically, you would go out Route 16 to Uxbridge Center and hang a left and go down south there. And there is a sign on 122 that says Blackstone
So
Village.
it's south of Route 16?
Oh, good.
South on Route 16, from Route 16, yes, on 122. Yeah.
Oh.
This is what you will get to see if they open the trail on the Snet Blackstone River Bikeway in Blackstone. There are at least 5 bridges that go over the Blackstone in a 4-mile section of trail. And this was last fall. We snuck in before they buttoned it all up and told us we couldn't go there anymore. This is the Blackstone River, and just a view from one of the bridges. It's going to be a national jewel. It's absolutely going to be a national jewel of a place. And again, this is the afternoon sun is lighting up the trees. Experiment with different times of day. And, you know, sometimes morning, sometimes afternoon. There's a lot that's wonderful about afternoon sun. So, and this is another section of the trail. You see the water. You've got a little bit of a rapids there at the Blackstone River. It's just going to be I can't wait to get out there and really be able to enjoy it freely. Over in Dover at Noanette Woodlands, you've got lots of oaks. And you're going to have this is another trustees of the reservation. This is another one of your views that you get. And this is a view in the summer, but you actually can see Boston from there. It's a nice, nice view. It's an easy walk right until you get up to where the summit is that you need to get to view. It's very, very rocky right on that overlook, so you need to be careful, but it's a wonderful view there. This is a great view at Moose Hill Audubon Sanctuary in Sharon, and this looks west to the football stadium. If you're there in the afternoon, you're probably not going to get a very good view, and this is where you have to start learning where these overlooks are and their view and their vantage point, because if you're looking straight into the sun, you're not going to be able to do much. You're going to do better with some morning sun at your back, or at least have it late morning, or you know, it's you have to start learning where these places are and which direction they face. Again, look down, and just because the leaves have fallen doesn't mean you've lost all your beauty. This is just Bellingham Common, and it was just some pretty, pretty leaves that had all dropped, and there's still real potential there too. And it was, you know, there were just some pretty maples that were on the common. And these are another potential place for us to walk, is our commons. A lot of them have walkways, and we're really blessed in New England to have these. This was right along, this is the Charles, it was just alongside a road, and I happened to see these gorgeous, gorgeous birches, and I stopped and grabbed that. This is in Bellingham, the Upper Charles, and it's a half-mile easy walk from behind the High Street athletic fields. And you would think you would be miles from anything, and you're about 200 yards from Bellingham Center, where the Blackstone, where the Charles River flows through there.
They didn't put up a parking lot.
They didn't, but there's a train track right on the other side. But it's not easy to get to, right there. And then your own backyard, you know, you have to make sure and look in your own backyard, and every now and then you'll get a grand girl to pose for you and very willingly say, sure. And sometimes she'll even jump for joy at the local tree that's on right on your very own street. So our own backyards are often our best places for foliage And every now and then, you're really lucky to have the deer stop when you've got your camera in hand and the tree and behind with the right tree behind you. And the deer is right there.
Now, was that photoshopped in?
No, it wasn't. It
That
wasn't.
was in your yard?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
word.
I know. And I could grab my phone, my camera without scaring
What's the
away.
difference for a camera?
Just a real simple,
Look, she's taking it out of her pocket.
oh yeah,
That's
that's why I hide,
little.
yeah, I hide with it in my pocket so I can just grab it, because I'm using my walking sticks. It's not really easy for me to have something around my neck. It's a Samsung, and I just, probably gonna break it to keep it in my pocket, but, you know, it's not fancy. That's what I took all these pictures with. This is not a fall picture, but once the leaves are down, you'll be able to see Boston from this view in Rentham. This is called Nuckup Hill. It's directly behind their senior center, and it's a fire road that goes straight up the hill, so it is a very easy walk for seniors. You walk right from the senior center down a paved road, up the fire road, and you get this gorgeous, gorgeous view. And this is Joe's Rock, which is what got me started on this whole book thing. I'm a personal historian. I help families get their stories written down and turn them into books, so I know how to make books. And I have a whole website to help educate people about that. I had written some articles for the newspaper about outdoor stuff and just put them on my personal history website. Every day, someone comes to my website asking, "Where's Joe's Rock?" Well, it's right here. It's on Route 121 in Rentham. I have probably 800 hits on my website for that one article. It's crazy. But Dawn came to Marblehead and I said, I think there's a need. I might as well start looking. And 31 towns and probably 100 trails later, I did not include every single trail I've been on, but I still haven't finished. But I did just release this latest second edition of Easy Walks in Massachusetts. I'm also always happy to help people with their family stories, and I love to encourage families to get out and have experiences, or to remember those experiences that you had with your own parents or grandparents, and share those with your grandchildren, because those are the things that bind us together between the generations, is those things, not just sitting and eating a meal, those are good, but going out and doing things together, memories that you can share, and take pictures while you eat. So that's my presentation for tonight. Thank you all so much.